Hello everybody, it's Allie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we have a little sit-down talking video. I'm basically just gonna be yapping about some short books that I think you guys should read. I have a nice little stack of books here that I liked myself, and I think other people really liked it as well because I looked at the ratings on Goodreads. So I figured I would recommend them to you guys so that if you're in a slump or if you just want to read something short, these might be the books for you. I've also decided to try to not talk so much about the books. I guess this will be kind of a rapid fire little book recommendation video. I'm giving myself at like max 1 minute per book. So without further ado, let's get started on recommending you some short books. The first book here is one of my holy grails. I love the movie a lot more than the book. Dead Poets Society by N.H. Kleinbaum. I hope I'm saying his last name right. I do like the movie more than the book, but regardless, it's still a good book, and it is very short. Let me just say, all of the books here that I'm recommending are under 300 pages. Just a little warning. I will say the book was written after the movie, so that might be why I like the movie more. This book is essentially about a young group of guys just trying to make their way through a pretty strict school. There are some deep moments and you will get emotional towards the end. I would say look up some trigger warnings before you read the book and also before you watch the movie maybe. This book is rated 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, but I personally rate it, for the book, maybe a 3.5 or a 3. However, the movie, I would probably rate like almost a 5-star. The next book is The Midnight Club by Christopher Pike. This is another quite short book. I almost forgot to say that Dead Poets Society is actually under 200 pages. The Midnight Club is just slightly under 200 pages, so also a very short read. It says on here coming to Netflix, but I'm not too sure if they actually made a Netflix show or movie out of it. This book I found quite interesting. This isn't what I usually read. I read mystery, as most of you should know at this point. However, this is more supernatural and fantasy, which was really cool. It's actually about teenagers who have terminal illness. They go to this hospice to basically go and die. However, the whole premise of the book really is kind of about communication beyond the grave, which is pretty cool. So I felt like this was a pretty interesting book to read, especially with it being so short. This was rated 3.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I would give my rating about the same too. Next up is a classic, which I'm sure most of you have heard of at this point. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. A really great classic book, I will say. This one is very slightly over 200 pages. Very slightly. I really liked this classic book, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are not classic book readers, which is totally fair. I totally get it. However, I really like this one because it talks a lot about the human soul. Actually, the main character in this book, which is Dorian Gray, he exchanges his soul for eternal youth and beauty, and then he suffers kind of the consequences of that. This is a really good book. If you're not super into classics, I would recommend trying to read this one to maybe get into it if you wanted to expand. This was rated a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but I would probably rate it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Next up is a really fantastic book. It's also a movie, which is also a terrific movie, so I'm sure maybe you've heard of it. It is Girl Interrupted by Susanna Kaysen. This is actually a biography, which a lot of people didn't know about. They thought it was just a regular fiction book, but no, this is a biography. This is actually about Susanna herself. So it follows Susanna's story about her actually being put into a girls' ward in a psychiatric hospital. She got put in the ward when she was 13, so it was around the 1960s, and it was crazy reading about how mental health was treated back then in the 60s versus how it's treated now. Nowadays, I will say we're a lot better. However, we still have a long way to go. It is quite a sad book, and I would definitely look up trigger warnings for the book and for the movie. Goodreads rated this a 4 out of 5. However, I would probably rate it maybe a 5 out of 5. Also, it is under 200 pages, so a nice short read. And I would also recommend watching the movie because that one was really good too. The movie does star Winona Ryder and Angelina Jolie, so do what you will with that information. Next up is a really tiny book, and it is The Tuesday Club Murders by Agatha Christie. This is a mystery book, and I love Agatha Christie. She is a very well-known mystery book author. She has so many books, but I picked this one up at like a little book sale that my school was having, and I really liked it. This one is not only small, but it's also really short. This is just under 200 pages. It essentially follows a nice group of friends that gather around on Tuesdays, and they just solve true-to-life crime puzzles, which I find really cool and also really cute. Just a group of friends solving murders together. I would say this is really perfect for anyone who likes really smart, American classic whodunit kind of books. Goodreads rated this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I agree on that rating. Next we have another biography, which a lot of people also don't know it's a biography. It is Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. I had no idea what this book was about. To be fair, I thought it was another fiction book as well until I started reading it and realized it's an actual real life story. The story is about Mitch Albom that reconnects with his old college professor, which is Morrie. This book talks a lot about ALS because his professor Morrie is diagnosed with it, and I like how awareness this kind of brings to ALS. It also kind of teaches us how to handle our emotions and how to detach ourselves from our feelings. Goodreads rated this a 4 out of 5 stars, but I would rate it maybe a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this book, and it is just under 200 pages. This book I've talked about quite a few times on not only my YouTube channel but also my TikTok. It is one of my favorites, and it is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Chbosky. I love this book so much. This is a slightly thicker book with being a little over 200 pages, barely slightly over 200. I've ranted about this book before. I truly like it. For some reason a lot of people actually don't like it, the book or the movie. I don't know how, because I both love the book and I love the movie. This is a good fiction book. It's actually a teen fiction book, and it just follows a story about a young boy just starting out high school, but he is struggling with mental health. I also love the way that this was written because it was written in the style of like letters to the reader, aka letters to my friend, as the main character says. This was rated a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but I would rate it a 5 out of 5 stars. As well as the movie, which is really good. Also 5 out of 5 stars. Next up we have Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is a pretty well-known book, I would say, on maybe Book Talk. Quite a few of these are talked about a lot on TikTok. This is a nice little fiction book that has a touch of romance kind of to it. And you guys know me, I'm not a romance reader at all, but I did kind of like this book, I will admit. It's kind of about two very opposite people that somehow always like find their way back to each other. It also has like a few time jumps in it, so it takes course over a couple of years, I believe. It's been a little while since I have read this, but it is a really great book, and it's also short. This one is well over 200 pages, about 250 pages. Please don't come after me for getting a little bit of a longer book, but it's really good, which is why I'm adding it in this video. Goodreads rated this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I agree with that rating. The second to last book, very sad, is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is a really good book. It's a fiction slash kind of fantasy book. It's about a girl with many regrets in her life. I mean, a lot of us have regrets in our lives, don't we? But she discovers this library during the middle of the night, and she's attempting to change herself to get the perfect life. But in doing so, all the choices that she does make in this library, she starts to put herself in extreme danger, which is not good. This was a really interesting book to read, and I personally really liked it. This one is also well over 200 pages, about 270-ish, so this one is slightly under 300 pages. I'm sorry. Goodreads rate this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I think I would agree with that rating. And very sadly, the last book, but it is a book I've talked about quite a bit. It is one of my favorite mystery books, I would say. It is The Perfect Place to Die by Bryce. I've ranted about this book on here. I've also ranted about it on TikTok. I love this book so much. Again, like I said, this is a mystery slash thriller book, so definitely right up my alley. It is about two sisters. They grew up in a not so great home. One sets off to go to Chicago to try and change her life. However, she does end up missing, so the other sister goes to attempt to find her. And while she's looking around for her sister, asking questions, she finds out that her sister worked in a hotel called the Castle. Interesting name because they are actually known for having their maids there go missing. So it's a pretty great book, and I really liked it. This is slightly longer, just about 300 pages, so really hitting that line, but I had to add it in here just because it's one of my favorites and I needed to recommend it to you guys for some reason, some crazy reason, which I do not know why. This is rated 3.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I do not agree with that rating at all. I would rate this like a 5 out of 5, but I don't know why this has such a low rating on Goodreads. Guys, come on. This is a terrific book. I definitely recommend going to check it out. However, that is the end of my little book recommendation recommendations. I hope I kept my promise with not talking too long about each book. Granted, I did talk quite a bit about this one, but let's not talk about that. However, these are all the books that I would totally recommend to you guys to read. They're all terrific, they're all great, they're all worth looking at and at least trying to read because of how short they are. But that is the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I enjoyed filming it. I love yapping to you guys about everything and anything, especially when it comes to books. You guys know I'm a big book reader, huge bookworm. And if you want more videos like this, then please let me know. Give this video a thumbs up to show me that you really liked it. And comment down below if you've read any of these, or if you have another short book read that you would recommend to me. Then maybe I'll read it, maybe I'll check it out, because I'm always down to read anything and everything. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I do want to mention again that we're so close to hitting 20,000 people. That's an insane number, a crazy huge number, and it's all because of you guys. And I want to thank you guys so much because you guys have been supporting me through everything, and I really appreciate it. However, that is the end of today's video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and again, comment below if you read any of these books or if you have any short book recommendations for me. I love you all so much, and have an amazing rest of your day. Bye guys!